Okay, everybody, I'm back. I'm just doing double takes of these videos to make sure I get it right. So I want you to see as much as you can of me in the videos. Today we're not cooking, today we're baking, hence the reason I have my baking hat. A couple of things that I want to do first is tell you guys that the next video is going to be about cooking utensils, because that's what we were going to be talking about in one of the videos before that I haven't done yet. And we're also going to be talking about oils, but not in the same video. We're going to be doing an oils video in a separate video. So the next video will be about kitchen utensils. And yes, there will be another cooking video next week. Going ahead a little bit, February 1st is our Chinese New Year for the Chinese. So what we're going to be doing a week before Chinese New Year, so we can have enough time to do it, is we're going to be dedicating all of that time to Chinese food until the end of Chinese New Year. So get ready for a series of videos that are Chinese food related. Yes, you think, why Chinese food related? Well, once you start eating Chinese food that's homemade, you'll never, guarantee, want to stop. Okay, speaking of guaranteeing of not want to stop, let's get into this recipe right now and get it done. Okay, first off, you have to wash your hands, which we've done. Now, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. When they say preheat, they mean heat it before you actually use it. Because pre means before. Pre is a prefix. For all you kids out there that are watching, just a little lesson. You should know that. Anyway. Okay, on to the next stage. Okay, it says to grease a baking sheet. For me, greasing is optional. I personally don't like to grease because I like to use this wonderful stuff called parchment paper. So what you do is you take your piece of parchment paper and you stick it over your cookie sheet, like so. This is a cookie sheet. And this is acceptable to go into the oven. I said in another video, look on the bottom, but not all items say oven safe or whatever, so you need to use your own judgment. When you get down to it, and you can judge enough, it just becomes second nature as to whether or not it can go in the oven or not. Normally, all cookie sheets can go in the oven, but to be on the safe side, just have a look on the bottom, and if you're not sure, ask somebody. Kids, ask your mom if they can go in the oven if you're not sure. The last thing I want you to do is ruin a nice pan or burn your hands by putting something in the oven that shouldn't go in the oven, or have your parents mad at you, which is part of baking and cooking. But it's just a learning process. Okay, so after the cookie sheet is lined with parchment paper, like that, take it and put it behind you because you'll need it later. Now, what the recipe says is to take the rolled oats and put them into a blender or a bowl of a food processor and grind them into coarse flour. So we have to take 1.5 cups of rolled oats. So, 1.5 cups of rolled oats. So we get our trusty measuring cup out, which is right here. Measuring cup. There are two different kinds of measuring cups that you can use. And if, hold on just 1 second, I'll be right back. I'm not going anywhere, just a second. Okay. And I actually will use this one because it's easier. This measuring cup originally came from a Cuisinart machine, which is a machine used to blend things and do other things, which I'll explain later when I talk about machines, another thing. you may or not be able to see it, but the numbers on here are starting to blur and everything. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is put this away. I'll be right back. And you have your measuring cup here. See this measuring cup? Kids, I'm going to show you this, and your parents probably know this too. See this measuring cup has a spout on it? So when you're pouring, things pour down the spout. There are some measuring cups that don't have spouts on them. If you're going to measure and want to pour things out of a measuring cup, I would recommend the ones with spouts. They've got, this is a 4-cup measure, 1, 2, 3, 4 cups. And then it also measures it in ounces, as well as liters on the side. Forget about the liters for now, and forget about the ounces. That's something else, some other form of measurement. Worry about the cups right now, which is what we're concerned about. So it says 1.5 cups of oats. So take your oats, these guys, and measure them up to 1.5 cups if you have enough. I hope you can do this. Okay, so I'm pouring my oats in now, guys. Oh, bad joke. I have, by George, oh, my oven just preheated. That's good. Okay, I have 1.5 cups of oats. So what you do, okay, and I'm going to show you something. What this is a new blender that my parents bought me for my birthday. It's called the Ninja Blender. So, and I'm just learning how to use it. Kids, the blades in here are really, really sharp. So, if you're going to use a blender, I recommend your parents be around you because you don't want to cut yourself. And I know it's an exciting piece of equipment to use, but again, if it's new and you're just using it for the first time, use it around your mom and dad. Okay, and don't worry, you'll get comfortable with it too. Okay, so 1.5 cups of oats into a blender. You can also use a food processor for this, but blender, in this case, it's exciting because I want to try this. So, okay, so again, the blender has measurements on it, and there's enough. Okay, so we have our oats in there. Now we take our top of our blender. Just a minute. Just a minute. Where did the top go to the blender? There it is. And we put our top on the blender. This Ninja Blender has arrows. There's one arrow here and there's one arrow here. To put the top on, you have to make sure the arrows are lined up. Then you have to push the thing down until it clicks. To release it, there's a release button. Watch. Magic, eh? Comes up. So down it goes. Lock it into place. And now we take it. We put it on our blender. Just a second. Okay, lock it into place. Now it says to take your oats and grind them into coarse flour. Okay, pulse several times. Okay, so you push your power button on your thing up, making sure it's plugged in. That would help, wouldn't it? Plug it in. Making sure your power button is on. And it says pulse, right? Pulse several times to grind them into coarse flour. So what we're doing is grinding into coarse flour now by pushing pulse. Holding down on it too. Hear that noise in the background? Oh, she's working big time. Okay, so we pulsed it. Now we pulsed it. We'll do it a couple more times. Okay, and we'll just lift it up. Okay, now what I'm going to do is show you guys what it looks like by taking the top off that. Taking the blade out by grabbing it on the top. That's your blade. Sharp, 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 sharp blades. Always grab it on the top. Never, ever by the blade. These are very sharp and they can cut you. Kids, ask your parents when handling blades, please. I don't want any damages in the kitchen. I can't afford to have any mini chefs come back with a finger or two less. I wonder where the fingers would have gone, but that's another story. That's what it looks like after being pulsed into coarse flour. That's what it looks like. That's exactly what it looks like. And it should be like that. Okay, so after we go pulse it into coarse flour, what we do is we stir the oats, which we just pulsed. Just a second here, I'm just moving some stuff out of the way. Oats, flour, salt, sugar, and cinnamon. Oats, flour, 1 cup of flour. So we have to measure a cup of flour. This is flour. Anybody tell me if there's a cup of flour here? I think so. You have to open my other bag after and decant it. Cup of flour. Okay. Just check it out. It's more than a cup of flour. Now there's your cup of flour. So cup of flour. Salt, sugar, and cinnamon. Salt and sugar, how much? Half a teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of sugar. Half a teaspoon of salt. Salt. Half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon, okay. Okay, so we take half a teaspoon of salt. Done. We'll put that over there. Get rid of that. And a tablespoon of sugar. A tablespoon of sugar. Okay, so where's my tablespoon go? Okay, now get the sugar. Okay, and we'll use a tablespoon of sugar. Half. 1. If you can't find your own tablespoon, use 2 halves. They make 1 tablespoon. I don't recommend it. A tablespoon of sugar. Okay, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. This is optional, so you can put as much as you want, estimating. Okay, that's good. A teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay, that's good. Now, what does it say to do? In a bowl, pour in water and olive oil. So half a cup of water and a tablespoon of olive oil. Half a cup of water. Okay, so half a cup of water. So I'm measuring half a cup right now. So half a cup of water. Yeah, half a cup of water and 5 tablespoons of oil. Okay. Just 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, so that's up there. So I'm using the half method. Kids, don't do this. Half 1, half 2, half 3, half 4, half 5. Okay, so there's 5 tablespoons of oil. That's what it asked for. And I'm going to show you right now. It specifically asked for olive oil. This is olive oil. I would recommend this brand. Reasons why in the video when I do it on oils, but this is good. Or Crisco, one of the two. This or Crisco is okay. This is olive oil, by the way. Now you take your spoon. And you mix it all together. This is where it gets really, really fun. Mix it all together to form a nice dough. Nice sticky dough. Hopefully it forms into a ball. Okay, normally I tell you in the video, never ever touch food with your hands, but they want you to make a ball, to form it into balls. So what I would do is I would just take your hands, making sure they're clean, or wear gloves. I don't have any gloves at the moment, but wear gloves, and take it and form this into a nice ball. You'll see why in a minute. Okay, so once this is formed into a ball, you'll notice it has to be exact. Don't be afraid to knead it with your hands till it gets tough enough to form a ball and stick together. I've never made bread, so I don't know what it's like to knead. Maybe one day I'll try it with you guys, but we'll see. That's a little advanced technique at the moment. Not saying can't do it, but okay, so once it's all rolled and mushed up like that, you bring back your board. I mean your cutting sheet, cookie sheet. You bring it back and you take your dough, or your dough, if you want to call it dough. You put it on your cookie sheet like this. You may notice it's all crumbly. That's normal, and that's what it's supposed to be. Okay, so you make it all crumbly. Parchment paper. Slide, but that's okay. It's wonderful stuff. So you make it all crumbly. You flatten it out like this. Okay, I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. Normally, I would use a rolling pin, but in a case like this, I'm just using my hands to flatten it out. Kids, you can always use the rolling pin. That's the fun part. But for now, we're good. Okay, so once we do that, we take our knife that they asked for. Okay. Then you take your knife, or a knife, you roll it. You sear it down the middle, so that you're cutting it into shapes. I usually cut mine into squares. Like this. And then it's gonna, don't worry, because if it doesn't look like they're crackers now, don't worry. They will harden in the oven. And you put them in the oven for approximately 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So you put them in the oven for 15 minutes. So I'm setting my timer for 15 minutes. Okay, then turn on the light so I can look at it and look at the clock. Okay, so it's cooking for 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video, and then when it's, actually no, I'm going to wait 15 minutes with you guys, and then I am going to do another then I'm going to show you what it looks like. Let me think, just a minute, let me think. No, I'm going to end this video, and then I'm going to take a picture and show you what it looks like at the end. If you guys can share your comments, that would be wonderful, about how it turned out. Don't be upset if it didn't turn out the exact way the first time. I've always had trouble with this. This is the first time that you guys have probably done it this way. So it just takes practice. So if it doesn't turn out, don't be upset with me. But before I go, I'm going to give you the answer to the trivia question. You guys probably thought about it, and you guys are wondering, he's really stumping us. What is the answer to the trivia question? The reason a chef's hat has 100 holes on the top of it is because a chef's hat, the 100 holes represent on a chef's hat the 100 ways to make eggs. Here's a trivia question for you guys, my baking students. Can you figure out the 100 ways to make an egg? We're going to talk about that one. Yep, the answer is 100 ways to make an egg. Isn't that interesting, eh? Okay. I will talk to you guys on the next video, which will be the kitchen utensils video, which I'm hoping will be tomorrow. And it could be a lengthy one, so get ready for that one. Have a good evening. Have a happy New Year. And there will be more videos after this one. You're not getting rid of me that easily. Take care of yourselves. Bye.